Hi, I'm Bruce Ratzlaff from Applied Compression Systems. For my capstone, I built this governance matrix for the real AI tools my sales team and I use every day. We built custom gas compression systems, and our sales workflow is augmented with RFQ reader, sizing, design engineer, our document systems, sales coach, CRM, AI, and the Perplexity Hub. I wanted to understand how these tools actually work under the hood and stop treating AI as a black box. So this matrix forces me to define for each tool what data it touches, whether the outputs are traceable, how much human review is built in, and what happens if it's wrong. Before this course, my government's thinking was basically it's IT signs off on security, we have a rough AI use policy, we're good to go. This course allowed me to create this matrix, and the output was a new lens for looking at all these tools. It pushed me to answer harder questions. What is the actual source of truth? Can human really verify this output? Where does the information flow next, and what are the consequences there? We went through six tools, sometimes more than once, and I had to describe how I really used them, not how I originally envisioned using them. And that's when the picture changed for me. On paper, our sizing design engineer looked to be the scariest tool, closest to performance and safety. Big consequence if it's wrong, but when I mapped the workflow, it turned out to be one of the better governed tools. The source of truth is performance run in vendor proprietary software by an experienced ACS user or the vendor. The AI either builds around that run or multiple runs are being modeled and help compare other options until the user locks in the master run. Then it stays inside technology and vector specific series specific knowledge and shows formulas in an appendix. Our most technical tool ended up less of a governance concern than I expected because it's constrained by external truth, narrow scope, visible math, and mandatory human selection before anything becomes design basis. The interesting bias story I found is actually in our sales playbook and our coach. And so here it draws on our ICP and ABCD skills, and these tools don't just reflect our preferences, they shape them by turning our rules about customer priority to concrete suggestions. Who deserves time, where to travel, who gets the attention. That kind of bias is the point of a sales prioritization system, but the course made me realize I'm responsible for keeping it explicit and reviewable and watching for patterns I'd be uncomfortable explaining to a customer or employee. Going forwards, I'm going to take these per tool profiles with our management team as well as our matrix and a framework for an ACS AI governance so that it becomes a shared operational practice instead of something I assume is handled behind the scenes. I also plan to use this matrix as the basis for building a new idea gate, so new AI workflows through the stress test before we invest time in building them. And so I can run the same checks on my existing tools and my idea backlog.